earn more money but too busy to start a side hustle? Do it the right way and teach your money to make more money for yourself, even when you're asleep. Dale Corpus will show you just how here on the School of Cash Flow. With his entrepreneurial mindset and extensive experience in real estate and finance, Dale will help you become a responsible, strategic, and passionate passive real estate investor. Learn how you can increase your earnings or find more ways to make money, only here on the School of Cash Flow.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the School of Cash Flow podcast. I'm the host, Dale Corpus. And you know what? First thing I wanted to say today is that one network that I joined less than a year ago is called GoBundance, and it's really given me so much value. GoBundance is a group that I joined December 2020, and it was introduced to me by a close friend of mine that happens to be in real estate. It's like a mastermind, an accountability group, and there's a ton of entrepreneurs and that folks that invest in real estate. It's everything I'm into, like building wealth, living financially free, leveling up, and really just stretching yourself. So I'm always down to learn, grow, and network, and GoBundance has really been a good thing in my life right now because it's giving me perspective on entrepreneurship, building more passive income, and even living like a balanced life, with my family, and holding me accountable to achieving my goals. So, I really believe in that saying that your network is your net worth, and it's opened up. This group has opened me up to even more relationships. In fact, that's how I met my guest today. It's really cool being surrounded by folks doing a lot of cool things. And my guest today, I met through GoBundance. He has a similar background in mine in that he's both a residential realtor, and we happen just to be at the same brokerage, ADXP Realty. And he's also a big real estate investor as well. He's the ultimate guru when it comes to house hacking, which is an amazing topic in itself. And we're going to cover some of that today. So I'm so excited to have my guest, Craig Curelop, on the episode today. A little bit more about Craig is that he went from a net worth of negative $30,000 to financially independent in just 2.5 years. And now with his financial independence, he has fun building a team of investor-friendly real estate agents at the FI team, helping each other achieve financial independence as he did. And so another factoid is when he's not slaying dragons with his newfound mustache, he's rocking podcast episodes and living the buyer hacker good life in Colorado and Hawaii. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Craig.
Dale, thanks so much. Thanks so much for having me on, man. I'm doing great. How are you?
No, I am. I'm excellent. And to give my listeners kind of, just understanding of where you're, based out of, where are you based out in Colorado?
Yeah, so I'm based in the Denver area right now, but we help people out all along the Front Range. So from Colorado Springs all the way up to Fort Collins.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit more, give our listeners a little bit more about your background, if you could elaborate on that and what you're actually focusing on right now.
Yeah. So, like Dale mentioned in the intro, I went from pretty much dead broke to financially independent in just a couple of years, largely through real estate investing and largely through what we call house hacking. And so for those that you may have never heard of house hacking, what that is it's a really good strategy for someone who is just starting out buying real estate. Maybe they're buying their first, second, or third property. But the idea is that you're buying like a primary residence with a low percent down, so typically 3 to 5% down. You live in one unit or one bedroom, or just you live in part of the structure that you bought, and you rent out the other parts, whether it's units, whether it's the basement, whether it's other bedrooms. That mortgage, the rental payments that you get covers your mortgage, and you live for free, which is probably reducing your largest expense, which allows you to just leapfrog towards financial independence. And so that is kind of when I realized the power of house hacking and the power of real estate investing, I was like, wow, I could totally do this and help other people, but how do I do that? And so I decided, becoming a real estate agent and not only being their agent, but being their guide, their consultant, their mentor, their coach, their friend through that entire process. It's just been super, super helpful and I think people love it, and it's been fun.
Got it. So you're a house hacking realtor and you teach people and your clients how to do so. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yep.
So how did you even come across the idea of house hacking?
So so bigger pockets. I was really at a job that I hated. If we rewind back to like 2016, I was at a job that I hated, and I realized that I did not want to live the corporate life forever. So I went on to, I just kind of like did some Google searches and figured out like, hey, how do I retire early? Like, how do I retain passive income? And I landed on bigger pockets, and I thought it was a total scam. And so I actually didn't listen to their podcast, didn't do any of that. I actually went to Amazon and picked up a book called The Book on Rental Property Investing. Didn't realize that Bigger Pockets published that book, so I just bought it. And then I saw in the book, they were all talking about Bigger Pockets. I'm like, oh, whoa, it must be legit if this dude in this book is mentioning it. And so then I went on to Bigger Pockets and realized it was an amazing resource.
That's amazing that you just stumbled upon that and just, took some action. I mean, like you talked about residential properties. So like, I'm curious, and the types of properties that you are focusing on, are they like single family homes, condos, something else?
Yeah, so they're typically 1 to 4 unit properties. I would say in the greater Denver area, the best thing to do to get the most cash flow and also the most appreciation are the single family home plays that, typically they're like 5-bed, 2 or 3 bath. And they usually have a basement. And so you can separate the top from the bottom. So you can kind of make like a quasi duplex out of these single family homes. Yep. And so, you're getting the price of a single family home, but the rent of a nice duplex, because single family homes are typically in nicer areas. They're typically, they're typically just nicer. They're better kept overall. And so you're actually able to charge like more for rent on each individual unit, and the purchase price is lower because it's a single family home. So I just find that, people say you can't find cash flow in Denver. You just got to get a little bit creative and, do something like that.
Okay, got it. So for folks that are into the idea of house hacking and whatnot, they've got to be open to, having other people, be living in the property alongside with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So it depends on like what, there's many different types of house hacking that you can do, right? Like, so you can go as far as renting by the room. And so you have a bedroom and you rent out the other bedrooms, in which case you have roommates and you're sharing a kitchen and a bathroom and all that. If you do not want to share living space with other people, it's not as profitable, but you can still, section off your basement, and then you use the upstairs, and the people who are renting it use the downstairs. And maybe it's on Airbnb, maybe it's a long-term rental. Sometimes you'll find a house with an additional dwelling unit in the back.
Right.
And so then you don't even share like any walls with them. You just share a yard with them. So.
Yep. Yeah. The ADU concept is really huge over here in the Bay Area, and it sounds like it's probably big out over there in Denver too. I know that I know folks that are building up in my area where they add, ADUs and like junior ADUs on the main structure, and it makes almost like their property, like from a single family, almost turns it into a triplex. And the cool thing about those other units is they could rent them out too for that additional income. What I find interesting though too about the house hacking idea is like the financing strategy on them. So my background's in mortgages, so it's cool to hear the fact that, you're doing higher leverage, like 97% financing or whatever, because you can do that as a primary residence versus doing like a 20% down for like an investment property. So, that being said, I mean, when somebody does a house hack or whatnot, do you teach people to do one house hack and then do a lot of them try to do another house hack maybe later on down the line?
For sure. I mean, that's the magic of house hacking, right? Is that you can purchase a property with 3 to 5% down. So in Denver, that's like 20 or 30 grand. I mean, that's peanuts compared to what you're getting, right? And then because you've reduced or maybe even eliminated your rent expense or your mortgage expense, you're able to save up that extra $1,000, $2,000 a month. So that way in exactly 1 year, you have the savings to put down another 20 or 30 grand to buy a next property. And that's the magic of house hacking, is accumulating them over time, right? One's not going to make you rich, but 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 absolutely will make you rich.
Yeah. I mean, in addition to the cash flow that's covering all the, the debt service on that property, I mean, the house hacking profits are also helping you pay down that, the mortgage. So you're getting that amortization benefit and appreciation along the way, which is amazing. Do you also focus on like duplex, triplex, and fourplexes then?
Yeah, I've got 2 traditional duplexes. A lot of times I just take the single family homes and make them duplexes. So if you count those, I have like all of them are that way almost.
Yep.
And so You just find that the numbers don't work as well when they're like traditional duplex, triplex quads in the Denver area, right? Other areas are different. And that's just because the price is so much higher and the rents are lower. And so you do the math, right? It means your monthly mortgage payment is going to be higher and you're going to get lower rent for it. And the appreciation probably won't be as good. And so I just don't love that asset class here in the greater Denver area. Yep. Now, it's easier for sure, right? You can split utilities easily. You don't have to worry about zoning. You don't have to worry about the rules and the laws and all that kind of stuff. So it's easier, but it's not necessarily better.
Got it. Going back to like your first initial house hack, when did you first do it? Like for yourself? Huh.
Yeah. So my first house hack was back in 2017. So I closed June 2017. And, we're recording this here on August or September. September now.
2021.
September 2021 now. And so it's been 4 years. I've got 5 house hacks, 6 total investments in Denver, and a handful of others kind of out of state as well.
Yeah, you've been busy. So
it's been fun, man.
Yeah. So tell me, like, I'm kind of curious if I wanted to go back and just kind of, do you remember some of the numbers even on that first house hack? And just want to understand how that works. So what was the property type? How did you find the property? How did you know it would make sense?
For sure. Yeah. So I definitely got a little bit lucky on this first one, right? So I bought a duplex. It was a top bottom duplex because at the time I didn't know about rent by the room. The only way to house hack was to buy a duplex. So I bought a duplex. I lived in the bottom, rented out the top. And I found this property on the MLS. It was totally redone perfectly. It looks brand new. So I didn't have to do anything to it, which I wanted in a house hack. I think a lot of people think they need to like fix them up, but I think fixing them up actually hurts you, but we can talk about that later. But the property was 1.5 miles from the office that I worked. So I really didn't even need to use my car. I could bike to work or even walk to work. I bought that thing for $385,000, put $17,000 down, which includes closing costs and all of that stuff. And my monthly mortgage payment was just about $2,000 a month. I rented out the top for $1,750. And I was really, really determined to have zero rent payment. And so I would still be paying $250 if I lived in the bottom. But what I did was I rented out my bedroom on Airbnb, and I put up this like quasi bedroom in the living room by putting up like a cardboard room divider and a curtain, slept behind there on a futon for a year. And I rented my bedroom out on Airbnb for $1,100 a month. So now I'm making, what is that? $2,850 on a $2,000 mortgage. Plus I'm living for free. So.
Wow. Yeah. So what did you gain from that experience? Did anything go wrong? Was there anything that you wish you could have done better?
If I had to go back and start in that same place, I would do the same exact thing again, because 1 year is not that long. Honestly, it's not. And I was 24 years old at the time. Yep. And I was like, I'm young, I'm single. Like, this is the time to do this. I didn't have any money. And so I needed to make the largest possible return on the money that I did have put to work. Right. Yep. Now, if you asked me to go live behind a curtain today, I would absolutely not do that, right? But that aggressiveness is what allowed me to go from a net worth of negative $60,000 to financially free in 2 years, right? And so that was the first thing. We had people coming in and out. Honestly, I made friends with a lot of people. A lot of people on Airbnb are actually really chill, really cool. Yep. There are some jerks. And the great thing is they leave after the second or third day. Yep. And so there's probably 3 or 4 people that I, to this day, still talk to from who stayed at my Airbnb. So
yeah, it's like, you're sacrificing a lot of your privacy and opening your doors to strangers, but they're staying there for short term. But it's like, but you're getting so much profit. It's really like, it's something that you do now, sacrifice to just kind of get ahead later on. Yeah. In terms of, the second house hack that you did, how long did it take for you, or how long did you wait to jump into something else?
Literally exactly 1 year later. I'm not going to lie and say living behind the curtain was like fun and enjoyable, but the results were great. And so exactly 1 year later, I bought a second house. This time I learned about rent by the room. So I bought a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in the suburbs of Denver, lived in 1 room, rented out the other 4 rooms. And so I bought that property for $343,000. So that's another like $20,000 or so down, because I did 5% down this time. Okay. Mortgage payment was like $2,100 or $2,200 a month. and I was renting out each room. I think I was getting about $2,800 a month in rent.
Yeah.
So, fully covered my mortgage plus living for free again. And then when I moved out, I would just fill that room with someone else.
Yep. That makes sense. I love this this room by room renting idea. Like where I live about an hour east of San Francisco. Like I've lived in suburbs of the Bay Area, and there's really not many duplexes, triplexes, or even fourplexes. It's like the idea that you could even house hack on a single family home by renting out rooms. That's food for thought. I mean, you could either do that or heck, like where somebody could potentially even get a split level type of home and maybe live in, one downstairs and then rent out upstairs. And that could be like almost like a quasi duplex type of deal. Or doing the ADU type of idea where the house is a separate unit and they could rent that out and live in the main house or whatever. So those are all, very cool ideas. I think it's just the fact that, again, the idea of a house hack, if I'm having, I've never done a house hack. So the idea of a house hack is just having it get primary residence type of financing, but renting out other rooms or, other structures on the property so that everything is being covered.
Yeah, exactly right.
And so for your finding the deals, I know you also help clients do this. I mean, are you mainly just looking on the MLS, or are you buying this off market, or what do you do?
Yeah, so MLS is where we get 99% of the deals. And let me tell you why, right? Because if you're getting a deal off market, I'm not saying always, but most of the time when you get a deal off market, there's a reason why it's off market, right? Like why would the seller not list it to get the most eyes on it so they can get the highest possible price? So if it's off market, it means they're probably in distress, which means the house is probably in distress, which means there's a problem you're inheriting. And as a house hacker or a first, second, third time investor, or even like an out-of-state investor, you may not want to inherit someone else's problem because it's going to cost you money and it's going to cost you time, and time is money. So, revolving thing there. And so I always say, if you're first starting out, get something that's turnkey. You want to be able to move in as soon as you can. You want to be able to rent out the rooms or rent out the units as soon as you can. Okay. So you can not pay your mortgage, you can cash flow, and in exactly 1 year, you can have more money to buy the second one, because buying the second and third one is actually what really makes house hacking powerful, not putting $100,000 into a rehab and getting $120,000 out of value, right? That's just going to cost you time and money that you don't need.
Okay, that totally makes sense. That's excellent advice. When you are going through a property, though, what do you look at to determine that this property is a good property to do a house hack on? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so it really just depends on what your goals are for the property, right? If you're going to rent by the room, ideally you want 5+ bedrooms, at least 2 baths, hopefully 3 baths would be the best. And you want a bathroom on each floor, right? So you want a bathroom on the top floor, bathroom on the bottom floor. And then you want maybe a master bathroom. That'd be really good too, because then you could charge a little bit more for the master. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do the split, you want to make sure that the layout of the house condones an easy split. Maybe you just have to put up a wall or put up a door, right? So if, like, for example, sometimes the staircases are in the middle of the house, it won't work. We don't even look at those unless you're able to dig and maybe add a separate entrance in the back, right? Which usually you can't, or it's just more expensive to do so. So it's not really worth it. Also in the basement, if you want to add a kitchen down there, or if you want to do it someday, you want to make sure that the plumbing is there. Because if you have to add new plumbing, that's going to be really costly and really expensive. Again, you could spend $20,000 to add plumbing, or you can just go find a new house that already has it, right? So those are just a couple of the things. I mean, trying to think what else. I mean, like parking is a big thing. The location is obviously a big thing. So yeah, a handful of things to look at for sure.
Yeah. You're still in your 20s and you're single and whatnot when you did this. I know it's harder for folks that are married and kids to be able to do, house hacking, since it's hard, they need their privacy and their space inside a single family home. So renting, room by room for them might not be as an ideal of a situation. But I'm curious, do you ever work with family, folks that have families that are into doing house hacking?
All the time. Yeah, all the time. And so families... Yeah. The families that do it are not, you're right. They're not going to rent by the room. And so that's obvious, right? But what they will do is they will occupy the upstairs and then just rent out the downstairs, or vice versa. If they want to make some more money, they'll occupy the downstairs and rent the upstairs. And they know it's a temporary situation. They're doing this now. So when typically it's young couples that are doing this, right? With young kids. But by the time the kids reach grade school, 5, 6, 7, they were able to buy a really nice house in a really nice school district, and they can afford it, and they don't have to worry about paying the mortgage because they've got 4 or 5 other rental properties that are cash flowing that can also supplement their forever home. So yeah.
Okay. What does it take for someone, like what qualities do you need to have to be a successful house hacker?
I would say, you just need to have a pulse, really. House hacking is really easy. If you're listening to this podcast, then you already have what it takes to house hack, because that means you've probably listened to Bigger Pockets, you're probably reading the books, you're probably a self-starter, and you want to do better for yourself. So if you're just like that kind of person that's always learning, and you have a network of people and all that, then you can absolutely succeed at house hacking. But honestly, like, there are people who house hack that don't even know they're house hacking, don't even know what the term is, never heard of it, right? They just buy a place and rent out their basement. Like, I've got friends that have done that forever, like before I even heard of house hacking. And so, right, just because you're listening to this and because maybe you've read the book or you've listened to a podcast or whatever, you know how to optimize it, and you can be intentional about it, and you can get a little bit farther than those people that are accidentally doing it.
Yep. No, I love how you're so passionate about house hacking. You are the guru. Do you only help people house hack kind of around your area, where you sell real estate, or you help people even, anywhere to help to house hack?
Yeah, we help everywhere. So, mostly like my team directly helps people here in the greater Denver area and in Colorado. But otherwise, just like you, Dale, like we know so many investor-friendly realtors all around the country. So if you need one, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Dale. I'm sure you've got them too. We can hook you up with whoever you need.
Okay, got it. The name of your real estate sales team is called the FI team. What does that represent? Huh?
Yeah, so it's the Financial Independence Team.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
The FI team, we're just helping people achieve financial independence.
And so, like, with, you help a lot of investors. I know that out of there. Tell me more. Do you help a lot of, out-of-state investors, look for properties, cash flow properties out of there as well, as it relates to house hacking, or do you have some other strategy for them?
Yeah. So a lot of we have a ton of out-of-state investors. Most of our out-of-state investors are not house hackers, they're just traditional investors. And really the difference between a house hacking agent and an investor agent is like the same thing. A house hack at the end of the day is just an investment property that you're going to live in. So we're always running numbers and all that kind of stuff. We work with out-of-state people all the time. We just go take a video, give you our honest feedback, let you know, what estimated rents might be, what your mortgage will be, kind of run the numbers with you. And if it looks good, we'll offer and make it happen. If not, then on to the next. But yeah, so we can help people from all over if you want to invest in the greater Denver area.
Yep. What's your opinion about investing over in the Denver market? How is that market going for investing for out-of-state investors?
It's been really, really good. Just like anywhere has been really, really good over the past couple of years. Obviously, the appreciation is there, but like everyone says, you can't really count on it, right? And so I like Denver because they have these nice house setups that can easily be cash flowed, right? And so whether you want to do rent by the room, like we've got rent by the room property managers. So if someone, we've got out-of-state people doing rent by the room, we've got out-of-state people who have converted single families into duplexes and now rent those out as 2 separate units. We have people just buying traditional single families. All of that stuff we do. And Denver is just, people are just moving here in droves because of, hey, they just realized the mountains are pretty close and it's really nice to be outdoors. And it's just a fun place to be.
Because I don't know Denver that well, I'm curious, for rental properties, do many of the homes there fall within that 1%, price to rent ratio?
You probably won't get the 1% rule here. If you do, it will be a screaming deal. Yep. The good thing about Colorado is that insurance is pretty low and taxes are really low. So your mortgage payment stays pretty low. I'm not sure if you heard, but remember my $385,000 property, the mortgage payment was like $2,000, right? Yes. And so in other places, I know they'll probably be closer to $3,000. And so that's mainly because our taxes and insurance are low. So the 1% rule, I hate that rule because it literally it means nothing here in Colorado. And people say, oh, they can't get that. You're not going to get that in an appreciating market. But that $385,000 property is now worth $600,000 a couple of years later. And so you will get that in Denver, and you also will get some decent cash flow.
Yep. I know that obviously you're like a very investor-friendly realtor. There's a difference obviously between somebody that does investment property sales versus somebody that mainly just does primary residence and move up buyers and all that kind of stuff. can you work with a lot of folks that are maybe first-time investors, even out of state or whatnot. Like, how do you kind of go about helping them, like as an investor-friendly realtor? Like, what's the difference from your standpoint versus them just going to somebody that isn't necessarily as well-versed in investments?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're just buying a totally different product, right? When you buy a forever home, all I really have to do is open the door and you tell me if you like it or not, right? I'm not you. I can't tell you what's good or what's bad. All I can do is open the door. I can negotiate for you. I can say, oh, we can get something here. Oh, watch out for this. But when you're an investor-friendly realtor, right, I can tell you, hey, these is estimated rents. This is what your mortgage payment's going to be. This is why people really want to live here. It's really close to public transportation. It's really close to the bars, restaurants, whatever it is. You're just like, you're thinking about how can you make the most money from this house versus how can you grow a family and how can you, it's more of like a logical side of thinking than the emotional side of thinking when you're buying a home. So totally different things. And I would say if you are looking wherever you're investing, if you have a realtor, make sure it's an investor-friendly realtor.
Oh, absolutely. 100% agree with you. Like we're different animals in that sense. Yes. Any short-term, business or investing goals that you have for yourself in the next, 6 to 12 months?
Yeah. So business goals, the investor side of our, real estate team is humming along, going great. We're looking to next move into the forever home stuff. I've got a really great agent on my team. She's done forever home stuff for a few years now, and she's going to be leading that. So we're really excited to get into that kind of niche for the real estate team. On the investing side, I'm pretty much tapped out on the residential stuff now. I'm going to go and do commercial. So we're looking at triple net lease and all that kind of stuff.
Love it. For folks that are, newer to real estate investing, just trying to get into this, whether it's house hacking or something else, any advice that you could give to them?
So if you're brand new at investing, I would just say, make sure you educate yourself, right? Listen to the podcasts, read all the books, watch the webinars, network, go to events, and get yourself around people that are doing things that you want to be doing. Because if you're in everyday life, this will be a very, very lonely battle towards financial independence because very few people are doing this. And so getting yourself around people that also think the way that you do and making new friends that are kind of on that same path will just propel you towards your goals.
Yep. Surround yourself, with folks that are doing stuff that you want to do, and you'll end up being just like them.
So true.
Yeah. And so hey, you have a podcast too. Tell me more about that. So it's just like your podcast. What's the name of it again?
Yeah. So it's called the FI Team Podcast. You can download it on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen. And it's just me and my co-host, Ziana McIntyre. You guys may have heard of her. It's mostly surrounded about financial independence, right? So we interview people in all different parts of their journey and figure out, hey, where did you first learn about financial independence? And how did you get to where you are today, whether you're at financial independence or whether you're on your way towards financial independence. So there's just shows that there's tons of different ways to get there. There's not like one textbook way to do it. And it's just, it's really fun just getting on there and talking with people about this stuff. So
Cool. Cool thing about podcasts, us as hosts, we get to learn too from other people's experiences.
Totally, man. That's the selfish reason we started.
I think that's why I started too. Like I'm selfish just as much as you are.
Yeah.
So just wrapping up, how can someone get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can get in touch with us you can go to thefiteam.com, www.thefiteam.com. If you want to get in touch with me personally, I'm at the FI Guy, the financial independence guy on Instagram. Yeah, you can find me on Bigger Pockets, wherever else. But yeah, Instagram and our website are going to be the two best places for sure.
Oh, that's right. And then I do know you have a house hacking book, right?
Yes, that's right. Yep. So we wrote a book on house hacking with Bigger Pockets. It's called The House Hacking Strategy. You can get that anywhere books are sold. If you want some of the bonus content, you have to buy that on the Bigger Pockets website. Otherwise, you can buy it on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or wherever else.
Well, very, very cool. I appreciate your time. That's it for this episode. Thanks, Craig, for joining me on this. I appreciate you too. Thanks for offering your knowledge as well. I'm sure I'll see you at another GoBundance or eXp Realty event in person. And to my listeners, thank you for checking out this episode of the School of Cash Flow. And until next time, live a life abundantly.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the School of Cash Flow. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into all the tips and tricks you can use to help you on your passive investing journey. In the meantime, you may visit www.cashflowschoolpodcast.com for more great episodes. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, review, and share. That's all for this episode, folks. See you next time.